and today I'm going to talk about the used 2015 Plus Yukon, which is the same as the Suburban or the Yukon XL or the Tahoe, really. But basically, I wanted to make this video because there's a lot of videos that do walkarounds about them when they're brand new, and that's great, and you get to see all the features, and you assume it's all a perfect car. But I wanted to make a video that's showing the reality of what they're like used now. When they have a little bit of miles on them, some things to expect, some of the features that you still enjoy even in its used condition, and that kind of thing. So it's not going to be like a brand new video showing every single thing that's only good about it, and it's not going to be a hate video either where I'm just dogging on it like people do, you know, as clickbait to get a bunch of views. So it's going to be a real world kind of scenario of what it's like to own one of these used, and whether I think it's worth it or not. And so we'll talk about pricing, we're going to talk about options, we're going to talk about value, warranty, things like that. So anyway, I think it's going to make a really good video that you'll enjoy if you're considering one of these, especially if you're not able to buy one new. So one of the big advantages of this body style is you can pick up a used one and it still looks exactly like the current body style. They're still the same body style here in 2019. That'll probably change in a year or two, but you can still get the new look for pretty much half the price, and that's what we'll talk about. But here's one that arrived at the dealership that they still haven't prepped yet. It still has the packaging on it and even the shipping wheels, because you choose those wheel options when it comes in, and maybe they don't want them getting stolen. But other than the grill, exterior wise, they look identical. The grill has slightly been updated, and there's some other little things on the interior, like the lighting has changed from red accents to a bluish accent. But other than that, it looks identical in every way. And here's another picture of these wheels that they ship them on, and the 20-inch wheels are factory, which are not these ones either. But the wheels that they will put on it will either be a 20 or a 22-inch wheel, and we'll talk about that option a little later. But overall, you can see that the base price is just over $69,000, and then with options and such, you're looking at $78,000 for these. So if you can pick one of these up, as I did, used, that has a few miles on it, you can literally get away with paying half as much as the window sticker on these. So buying used, as we'll get into a little bit later, of course, the main disadvantage is warranty, but the car carries a 3-year, 36,000-mile bumper-to-bumper, which may be gone if you get it used, but it still retains a 5-year, 100,000-mile drivetrain warranty as well. And so a lot of the ones that you pick up will probably be out of the bumper-to-bumper 36,000-mile 3-year, but you probably will still have the powertrain warranty. So one of the main reasons I chose the Yukon and the Denali at that is because the Denali gets the 6.2-liter V8. That's 420 horsepower, 460 pound-feet of torque. So that's going to be plenty of power for towing. I do a little bit of towing, kind of mild towing, but when I do tow, I want it to be able to handle it, and it does a fantastic job with it. It can tow up to 8,100 pounds or so, and has a lot of other nice features for towing. It has an air leveling suspension, so it's going to rise back up to help level the load, and so just a lot of options. So for wanting a SUV to do light towing, the Denali does a great job, rated at 8,100 to 8,400 pounds, where something smaller with a V6 would only be 4,700 pounds. That's half that almost, and if you look at the MPG, it's just about the same gas mileage to do that. It has a really nice rear view camera. You get a good view of the tow hitch ball and alerts for when to stop and that kind of thing. So if you're careful with it, you're not going to mess anything up. And it's just a really good angle and a really nice view camera. And while we're on the topic of the backup camera, it has a really nice feature where it will alert you from which way somebody's coming, like that person on the little scooter there. And so I've had it actually alert me several times as people have been walking up and by. And even some of the new SUVs don't do the whole turning diagram like this, so this is real nice to see where you're going to end up and where you're headed. So now we'll kind of get into the exterior. I really love the looks of this truck, the LED running lights, the turn signals, that turn on and off from amber to back to clear. And overall, I think this is one of the best looking SUVs I've ever seen. So that was kind of one of the main driving factors, being that it's the Denali, the 6.2, and the V8. These are the 22-inch wheels that came as an upgrade. 20s are standard. You get a little more sidewall, which is nice. This also has the fixed step plates. It has some that fold up that a friend of mine had, but you could hear them clunk underneath, and I wasn't really too thrilled. Nice options. The old kick foot underneath it's going to open up the tailgate. Automatic lift gate here that you can do also with the remote or your foot or anything like that. So a lot of good options, push buttons. Just a very friendly vehicle for just having the remote in your pocket. You can do a lot with it. Now, a lot of these Denalis come with the captain's chairs, which makes it easy to get to the back, but ours we were happy to find with a bench seat so that we could put our car seat in there. So happy wife, happy life, right? Beautiful day here, by the way, in southern Utah that we were really enjoying. Now, coming into the truck, you'll see so many different options. You have your power folding mirrors. Just by the push of a button, they'll fold in. Options to have that work with the keyless entry. And I go over a lot of these. I'll put a link in the description of all the videos where I show how to operate a lot of this. But just really nice features inside. Every button seems to light up when you touch it. Memory seating, which is nice. It works with each different key fob. Coming inside, you get your good headlights, normal knobs, and four-wheel drive with the trailer brake assist. You have lane departure, all kinds of fun things in here, and I'll show you some videos on setting all those. Inside, technology-wise, you have just a huge amount of programs that you can go through for audio, for your phone, just different settings that you can play around with. But one thing I do want to mention is once you stop paying for their internet service type deal, you lose some things like the compass. A lot of the center section technology package stuff will go away. The moving map itself stops working. You don't really have GPS to Pandora. A lot of the things that the car comes with that you would imagine it would continue to have, just like when you buy other things, now will not work unless you're paying that monthly fee. Tow haul, I really like. When you push the button, it swaps in the transmission temperature gauge, which is really nice. I think that's a cool feature, something I've always wanted to know when towing. And overall, really nice Denali in the steering wheel. Push buttons. There's buttons on the back side of the steering wheel as well. Left side controls, changing to the next song. The right side is the volume. And really nice big display here. Very easy to operate. Push button, touch screen, everything like that. Air conditioning controls, you have the cooled seats and heated seats, as you can see here, and just by the push of a button, you can turn those on and off. You can even have them start up with a car as part of the remote start, which we can talk about in some of my other videos. But rear control over here to turn it on and lock it out if you don't want the kids messing with it. And of course, this really cool feature that lifts up the navigation screen, or the front screen has a hiding compartment inside. And in valet mode, you can make it so nobody can get into that. The lift gate also has options to flip it on and off. And you will want to turn that off, because the funny story, I was at the car wash spraying under it, just kind of cleaning the spare tire and all that, and sure enough, I looked over and the rear tailgate had opened up in the middle of the wash job. It was kind of funny. You got your garage door remote settings, sunroof, which I will mention, I really like the sunroof in this. However, the screen that comes up is actually quite loud. It does have a lot of other nice features, like a little mirror so you can keep track of what's happening in the back seat for the kids, and liftgate options. And it has a charging dock, but it will not work with some of the older phones. Inside, the storage is really nice. Has USB ports everywhere, all over the car, and those hook up to the phone really easily. The phone comes right up when you plug it in. And then moving into the back, it has another power outlet, and it seems like those covers are always missing. I don't know, they just break all the time, I guess. But got heated seats for the middle row on the outers only, and then a 110 volt outlet, just like you would have a regular plug to plug things in, so that's really nice as well. The DVD system is really nice and comes down. There's headphones for that too. and so it looks jittery on this, but it's actually really nice. Cup holders in the doors are also really nice on this. For the Navigator, for example, they're just map pockets. But overall, very nice truck all the way around. You're really getting a lot for your money when you're buying it used, is what I would say, because otherwise you're paying over $80,000 for this. But I really love the LED taillights, the turn signals, all that. And you can see the blind spot recognition light up as cars are coming into your blind spot. The mirrors are a little small for towing, but not bad. And so it does also have the cylinder deactivation, so it'll tell you when you're V8 mode, or just like it flipped over here to V4 where it's running on 4 cylinders. And that does affect the gas mileage quite a bit, but it does kick on and off. And so when it's in 4-cylinder mode, you'll notice it does sound and everything different. Just like if you're driving a 4-cylinder car, you might notice that it has kind of a little bit more of a vibration to it, and so you start to notice that and you think something's a little different, and you look down to see that it's in 4-cylinder mode. It is nice to set the speed you want for the cruise control, and some models have the adaptive cruise control, which will slow down automatically for you. And so I could go over options, and I have videos on how to operate all of these options, but that could take us all day. There are really a lot of things you can do with this. And so I'll put the playlist of these videos in the video description so you can see how to do it all, since I've made the videos showing basically everything you would want to know on how to set it up on these. And they can be fun for you to watch if you're interested in buying a Yukon like this. But we'll stop talking about options for now, since that could take all day. So I want to talk about driving impressions, and you will really love the way it drives. The steering wheel is nice and thick. It has a real nice feel to it. Great power out of this 6.2-liter V8. I can't believe how good the turning radius is on this. As an SUV, you want to be careful on curbs and swing wide, but it will turn very sharp. Even the XL and the Suburban, the longer versions, do really well at this too, but it turns on a dime. I also have an older 2000 Silverado with a 5.3, 285 horse, and man, the towing options on this one with the brake controller, this is me manually testing it, but it works just with the pedal. But I've towed a 20-foot trailer with a whole nother car in it, and it's been fantastic. You cannot believe how well this tows. It almost feels like there isn't even a load behind it. My wife has had some getting used to with it, backing up. The camera really helps out a lot, but she's getting pretty good at it now. The only thing that really bothers me is the transmission, and there's been people complaining about whining transmissions. Mine has a pretty hard shift between 1 and 2 until it warms up, and then after that it's perfectly fine. But this is the 8-speed transmission I was lucky enough to get. It came out mid-year of 2015, so other ones are the 6-speed, and now they even have a 10-speed that's out. So now to get into some of the warranty, here's something that had happened with me. I got a check engine light, ran the code, and found out it was a transmission temperature sensor. Okay, so I thought, okay, well, the car is still under its 100,000 mile warranty. It no longer has the bumper-to-bumper, so I called in and asked them about it, and so here's what they're going to do, and here's what's going to happen. They're going to tell you basically what the warranty would cover, what it wouldn't. Now that it's out of the bumper-to-bumper, you have to pay for the diagnostic, and I just asked them if it would be covered, and they said, well, you have to bring it in before we could tell you for sure, and they want you to pay the diagnostic fee. And I said, I already know what's wrong, and of course they still want you to pay, but if you read under what's covered, it says electrical components internal to the transmission and transaxle. So you think, okay, great, electrical component should be a temperature sensor, but then it further goes in to say that sensors are not covered. And so it's one of those hit or miss things where you're going to have to pay to find out. And my problem is the temperature sensor was working on and off, and so if I were to bring it in with it working, they're going to do a diagnostic, charge me $125, and then say, everything's fine, we reset it, bring it back again, and I'll start over again when it happens. So it's really hard to say at that point. And so something you need to be careful about is I went out and I bought the part that was needed, but then I stopped and said, wait, I don't want to install this because I could void my own warranty. And so I have the part now just sitting here. Once I'm out of the warranty range, if it still hasn't been fixed, I'll install it. And as I was mentioning earlier, now this is an updated part. It's a better part than what's on there. So I think this would actually solve the problem better. But if it comes down to the dealership not going to fix it under warranty and I'm going to have to pay for it to be fixed, I'll just wait and fix it myself once it's out of warranty. So unless you have a total failure of the transmission or the engine, taking it in will most likely cost you some money, and who knows how it'll end up. I did have a good friend of mine on Instagram who sent me a list of every single thing that had been done to my Yukon prior, and so it brought up a lot of things. And so here's the thing. A lot of parts were replaced, and they were replaced at very low mileage as they failed. Ever since then, they've been fine. So on one hand, the previous owner had been the guinea pig. They've spent the full price for buying it and had to drop it off and fix it and be out of a SUV while it was being fixed. And so on one hand, I'm enjoying a lot of the benefits from that, from him having to go through the trouble of getting things fixed. So if they properly fix something, then you're better off than if you had bought it brand new, paid full price, and had to deal with taking it in for the warranty. So it depends on how it's been replaced. And another thing to bring up is if there's a faulty component when these cars are brand new, they're not going to have a better replacement part. They're going to put the same part on it that they have, and it'll probably fail a few months later, just like it did in the beginning. When you're buying one that's a few years old, now they have better replacement parts. They have fixes to the problems. And so in that way, it can be a little better. There's also people who've gone through it. They've posted on forums how to fix it and what they had to do. And so there are some advantages of being the second-hand owner to where you benefit from a car that's been fixed, if that makes sense, rather than having it brand new and having to take it to the dealership and have them just put a Band-Aid on it until a fix becomes available. Now, air conditioning is a big deal for us with the baby, and sure enough, this had a new condenser put on. Actually, when we test drove it, it wasn't working, but they fixed that to our satisfaction, and a neighbor even had his go out on his. But they also had my good friend send me this entire list of everything that had happened to the car, the entire history. And so some of these items are kind of normal. A lift strut for the automatic tailgate, some of it, however, was like the DVD system. I don't know if this was the front or the rear, but that had to be replaced. And, I did notice there was a little bit of torque converter vibration, and it looks like they had that worked out a little bit earlier on and reprogrammed. And so anyway, a whole different steering control module was put in, maybe for the electric steering. And so on one hand, it's been fixed. On the other, it was something that was wrong. The magnetic ride suspension is always a concern with these. It's said to go out pretty easily. So, when that time comes, I'll just decide whether I want to go back to a traditional coil-over strut and chock, or what I want to do. But it's not $40,000 worth of parts as if I were to have bought it new. So to me, it's still worth it, and I enjoy working on cars here and there, so I actually find it as okay if there's a few little things that I have to do. I just want the car to be reliable, and that's the beauty of this older pushrod style V8 is, my truck has a similar engine, 240,000 miles on it, running strong. And, GM's if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of company. And so, I see good longevity with the powertrain. And so that was one of the deciding factors on the car, not wanting to go towards a Navigator that relied on turbochargers that definitely would, at some point or another, have some kind of component failure, making the same horsepower. So anyway, we're really enjoying it. I think it's a great value when it's used. I don't think I'd spend the $80,000 for it brand new, but we really like it. I think it's going to be a good vehicle for us, and anything that ends up happening with it, I think will be a good learning experience. I'll make videos, keep everybody updated, and maybe help others if they have the same problems. So thanks for watching, and go ahead and put in the comments if you have any questions or anything you want to know about it that maybe I didn't cover.